So with inflation being at the highest level it's been at in more than a decade, 3.7% in July, it makes sense to ask the question, what things are getting more expensive and what things are getting less expensive? And in today's video, we're going to discuss the 5 things that are getting more expensive and the 5 things that are getting less expensive and that are contributing the most to the consumer price index. But before we get into it, do me that favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Please hit that like button so more people like you can see this video. And don't forget about our race to 25,000 subscribers, where one lucky subscriber is going to win $5,000 to put towards their mortgage, to put towards their investments or their savings, maybe to pay down some debt, or maybe to just hedge against inflation. And I'm going to show you a way that you can do that at the end of this video. But in order to win that contest, you need to be subscribed. It's free, it's easy, it's definitely worth it. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I'll wait and I'll see you on the other side of the intro. The definitive guide on how to manage your credit, product, penalty, price in that order. It's never been more important to get your mortgage right. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's discuss the 5 things that are contributing the most to CPI going up, the 5 things that are keeping it down a little bit, and at the very end of the video, I am going to discuss a way that you can hedge against inflation going forward so that you aren't necessarily getting hit as heavy in the pocketbook as many others will be. So let's get into it. Let's start with the things that are going up the most in price, and let's start first and foremost with gasoline, up 30.9%. That's right. In July of 2021, it cost 30% more than it would have cost you in July of 2020 in order to get a tank of gas. Now, that is a pretty big increase, but you have to put this in perspective, okay? Think about pre-pandemic, and I'm going to use Alberta as an example because that's where I am. Pre-pandemic, February of 2020, gas prices were around $1.19. Now, fast forward to July of 2021, and gas prices are now, in Alberta at least, about $1.30. So gas prices haven't actually gone up pre-pandemic to today, 30%. However, because gas prices went down substantially at the beginning of the pandemic, there was a period of time where gas prices were lower, and clearly compared to last year in July, gas prices have gone up pretty substantially, almost 31%. Now, that's not to say again that they are more expensive than pre-pandemic, but gasoline prices are going up quite a bit. And here's the thing, gasoline prices are what's called a lead indicator in the economy. So everything needs to be transported when it comes to goods and services, right? So, well, more goods than services. But when you have goods that need to be transported and gasoline prices are going up, that means the cost to transport them goes up. And that also means that eventually it's going to trickle down through the rest of the economy. And that means that the things that you buy that have to be transported are going to go up in value a few months down the road. So this is actually going to add inflationary pressure for other products a month to 3 months down the road as gasoline prices start to filter through the economy and start to affect the transportation and the cost of transporting goods. Now, the second thing that's going up quite substantially is home replacement costs. So what is home replacement costs? Well, it is the cost that it would take to replace a home that, let's say, burnt down. Or in other terms, it's also the cost of actually building a house. So home replacement costs, the cost to build a property today is about 14% more than it was in July of the last year. And this can be attributed to things like increases in lumber prices, increases in the cost of materials, more demand in the labor market for construction because we've got so many new houses coming online. There's less people to go around and build those houses, which means the cost of labor has gone up. And that's overall trickled down through the entire building process of a home, including replacing a house if something were to happen to it. Now, the third thing that's gone up in price quite considerably is passenger vehicles. And this is largely due to supply chain effects in the semiconductor industry. So we saw last week a report from Toyota that they have worked through all their stockpiled semiconductors, and they are now in the process of trying to find people to produce, or companies to produce semiconductors because they're out. And here's the reality of buying a car right now is because there's less supply, that means the price goes up. And there's also this piece of buying a car where we're seeing manufacturers like Ford basically say we are no longer going to stock dealerships with cars. We're going to go to a made-to-order model where, because there are so few semiconductors available, they're basically going to make it so that you have to order a vehicle in order to get a vehicle because they only want to make vehicles for those who specifically are buying. Now, what this means for a consumer is you aren't going to be able to do that thing where you go into a car dealership and buy a car and drive it off the lot the next day. No, if you want to buy a brand new vehicle, you're going to have to wait, which is also the reason why used vehicles have gone up so much in price, because for those who have that need to get instant gratification and buy that car right now, they're turning to the used car market so that they can drive that car off the lot, which has pushed up used car values as well. Now, home expenses. This is things like your cleaning supplies, your electricity, all the things that go along with owning a home. And there's no surprise here that these have gone up quite substantially, 13.4%. And the reason for that is quite simple. People are spending more time at home, which means they need more cleaning supplies, they need more toilet paper, they need more paper towels, and they're using more electricity. So home expenses have gone up quite considerably, 13.4%. And as we see more and more work shift and stay at home, you can expect that home expenses are going to go up and continue to go up as the demand for products in order to maintain your house increases over time. Now, last but not least, the fifth thing that is attributing to a higher CPI is rent costs, because we've seen the craziness in the real estate market, all the purchases, all the higher prices, all the things that make houses more affordable to own are encouraging people to move towards renting. And that means that rents are going to go up because there is more demand. And we're seeing that filter down through the economy. Rents are now up 2.6% over July of last year. And you can expect that if you are in the rental market, rents are going to continue to go up over the next couple of years as people realize that houses are becoming less affordable and it is a better deal for people to rent. Now, let's talk about the things that are going down in cost. Now, obviously, we saw earlier home replacement costs, the cost to build a home have gone up, but that is largely in part because it has become cheaper for somebody to own a house with respect to mortgage interest costs. So in other words, because interest rates have gone down, and no, they haven't gone down 9%, but they've gone down the equivalent of about 9% in the actual amount that you would pay in interest on a monthly basis. And that is obviously making homes more expensive. The Bank of Canada, when they lowered interest rates back in March of last year, knew that lowering interest rates would lead to borrowing. It would effectively have an upward pressure on the real estate market. And the real estate market has led the economy over the last 18 months because of lower mortgage interest costs. And this isn't just for home ownership. This is also for commercial ownership and a lot of other interest costs with respect to owning property. So really a big benefit of the pandemic has been the lower interest costs and the lower costs to own a home from an interest perspective, even though the costs of maintaining the home have gone up pretty much accordingly. Now, this one's a surprise to a lot of people, telephone services. Now, I'm not sure if this is cell phone services or if this is landline services, but essentially telephone services have gone down by about 13% in price. And here's my take on this. Here's what I think is happening. Because there's been a move to people living and working at home, there's been less of an emphasis for them to have business phone numbers. And because there's less demand for business phone numbers, that means there's been more of a reliance on home phones. And as a result of there being less demand overall, that has lowered the price of telephone services overall. Now, that's just my take. That's what I think is happening. I don't know that for sure, but that is my guess. But the reality of it is right now, if you're going to get a telephone and a landline or a cell phone, it should be cheaper than it was in July of last year. Now, car insurance, here's another big one people are surprised at. And the reason why people are surprised is because when you get car insurance, you basically get it for a 1-year term. You continue to pay that amount and you don't see adjustments in the market for car insurance. However, if you were getting brand new car insurance, you were paying less. And the reason why is because people are driving less. People are not going from home to work. They're simply staying at home. And as a result, there will be less miles being driven, which means less risk for car insurers, which means the premiums come down. And if you were getting brand new insurance right now, you're paying about 6% less than you were in July of last year. Now, here's another big surprise. Fresh vegetables down 7.5%. Now, this is as an alternative to meat. Because if you look at the month-to-month numbers, meat has gone up substantially in price from June of 2021 to July of 2021. And that's because of the shutdowns in the meat manufacturing plants. But if you're getting fresh vegetables due to really good growing conditions, thank you, global warming, and along with the backlogs in global transportation leading to more supply of transportation in local markets, well, transportation costs are down for fresh vegetables, growing conditions are better, and as a result, and this is really great news for a vegan, you are paying substantially less for vegetables. It's also really good news for anybody who drank and ate a little too much during the pandemic and needs to start eating a little bit of a healthier diet, because those veggies are significantly cheaper than the meat and all those things that lead to all the bad things that come along with health. No, I'm not a vegan, and I have no idea why I just said everything I just said, but hey, fresh vegetables are good for you. I know that. And lower prices is also good for you as well. And then last but not least, air transportation has gone down considerably compared to July of 2020. Reason for this is really simple. In July of 2020, we saw all of the airlines pull back their offerings. It actually got more expensive to fly in July of 2020 because there were less flights available. And with less people flying, there were less people there to share the costs. Now what's happening is people are getting back to flying across Canada, flying domestically, and therefore the amount of people that is flying is lowering the overall cost for people who are actually getting on those planes. So air transportation, if you want to go and check out other parts of the country right now, down 8%. It's a really, really good time to do so. And hey, if you want to travel into the US, want to travel into Mexico, you can do that right now, and you can do so fairly cheaply as long as you've got all the things you need pandemic-wise in order to do so. So those are the things that are increasing values in the economy. Those are the things that are decreasing in value in the economy. And I promised at the beginning of this video, I would give you a strategy for hedging against inflation. And this is really simple. This is one of the best lessons that I've ever been taught about money. It was taught to me via a book called The Only Investment Guide You'll Ever Need. And in that book, they talk about when you have the opportunity to buy things like, let's say, household goods that are going up in value at a pretty substantial amount right now, and you have an ability to buy them on sale at today's prices, it is actually one of the single biggest returns you can get on your investment of your money, because you are buying them at today's prices and on sale. So if you want to hedge against inflation and you want to lower your household costs, buy the things like your laundry detergent, your dish soap, your cleaning supplies, your toilet paper, your paper towels. Buy them when they're on sale, and then buy a 1 or 2, or if you can afford to store it, a 3-year supply, so that you're buying those goods at today's prices while also getting a pretty substantial discount on it. And that is better return than any sort of investment you can make. It's better than putting money into the stock market in a 7 or 8% return and getting taxed on it. If you're buying those goods at a 30-40% discount and buying them at 2-3-4% less than they will be tomorrow, that is after tax dollars, and it's one of the best returns on your money that you can get. So if you found this video useful, do me that favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, please hit that like button so more people like you can see this video. Don't forget about that race to 25,000 subscribers, and tell me, what are you seeing in the economy that's more expensive? What do you see that is cheaper? What are you seeing from the perspective of inflation where you live? Leave me your comments in the comment section below, and we'll see you on the very next video. Cheers.